load of crap.
I personally think it's people. It's not aliens. It's people.
It was people.
Yeah, it was. Was it miners or something?
No, it was to do. It was to do with a rival gang. Was
really?
Yeah, they were deliberately upsetting the villagers to make them leave their homes, and while their homes were empty, they were going in and robbing them. So it was all done on purpose by a gang who wanted to burgle people's houses, and so the people that left would then return home to find their houses had been broken into and all their belongings had been taken. So and they used the guys as aliens. They carefully planned what they were going to do. Sorry, everybody. Good evening. In case you had sort of jumped on at the last second there, we were talking about a case that popped up a couple of weeks ago about a place in Peru, a village in Peru that was being terrorized by aliens.
Aliens!
And over, yeah, I'll leave you to say it, Mark.
I still look blacker than my cat.
Over the last week or so, we've been looking into various different stories and live videos and TikTok videos and various bits and bobs. And it turned out that
Hi, Annette. Hi, Karen.
It was all because of a gang near a village that wanted to earn themselves some money. So they deliberately set this alien visitation up, that the aliens were attacking the village in the hope that the people would leave. And a few people did leave, and while they were gone, this gang then went in, broke into the houses, stole all the valuables, and went off. So when the house owners came back, they found that their house had been broken into and everything had gone. And obviously since then, it's now all seemed to have stopped mysteriously.
Some of the things I saw was they were saying that although they were aliens, they were being shot at, but some of the villagers went to their mayor and said, "I'm sure it's fellas in fucking like jetpacks with body armor on."
Yeah, there was. I think there was two of them were using those. There's been a lot of TikTok videos of them going around of the jet suits. Yeah. Apparently, two of the gang had those, so it was a well organised and well-funded criminal activity.
Oh, it takes the piss. Hi, Randy, mate. Got it. It takes the piss. I am going to recline.
Well, I suppose it's a very clever thing to do, especially at the time when UFOs and aliens seem to be hitting the limelight a lot at the moment.
Well, the thing is where this village where it happened, it wasn't too far away from that other place where there was an actual landing with the aliens that were caught. Or biologics is a new fucking word, isn't it?
And also, you've got a lot of these places in Peru that are are still traditional in their ways.
Yeah.
And their superstitions still reign supreme, and they are still strong believers in things like beings from other worlds. So, to use this guise as an alien attacking the village would scare a lot of the older people because of their beliefs. So, of course, straight away they'd be like, village elders said, we've got to get out. So we go in, and this gang have gone, well, hey, we've got 4 empty houses. Let's get in there. And they've just wiped the floor with everything in there and got out of the way quick.
It's disgusting, isn't it, when you think about it?
It is, but unfortunately, when I suppose obviously in sort of, I don't like to say it, but more sort of technological and more advanced people like, London or anywhere else that's sort of more modern, we'd all be like, yeah, whatever, don't believe that. It wouldn't happen in a place like where we live because We wouldn't fall for it.
Well, we have
but
things.
Down there,
I mean, I've got cameras up and ring doorbells and everything.
And down there, they would fall for it hook, line, and sinker. So, you know, they've taken advantage of how the people are down there, and it's, you know, it's a bit out of order, really, but it's quite clever in another sense.
It's definitely Heil Hitler. It's definitely Heil Hitler. It's definitely an interesting one. What do you make of all these, you know, the meetings that they had and the Congress things where these whistleblowers and everybody came forward, and they were talking about, and the guy admitted that they've got bodies, and some were alive and some were dead. What do you make of all that?
To be honest, I'm getting a bit confused with it all, because now it seems to be that
well, ladies and gentlemen, Wayne's left the fucking building. Hang on a minute, I'm just waiting for him to come back on the bottom there, and then we can add him in again. I know he was charging his phone. I wonder if it's run out. Anyway, as we were saying about this. Is he there? He's back again.
Sorry about that, guys. A UFO landed in my front garden. I don't know what happened there. Anyway,
maybe we were talking about biologics. Fuck, I hate that word. I actually hate that word. Biologics. Why don't you just say, yeah, we've got aliens?
Oh, we were talking about all the whistleblowers saying about the biologicals. I mean, to me, it's nothing unusual. You know, we've all suspected it for donkey's years. Even Hollywood has suspected it for donkey's years. We've
had them since at least Roswell.
Easily. I mean, you look at the likes of Independence Day, classic example where Will Smith has managed to down one of the alien craft, and he drags
welcome to Earth.
Yeah, punches him in the face like it's going to work. The alien's wearing a suit of armor, so just a punch in the face really ain't going to do much, is it? But drags him across the desert, gets him into Area 51, and then the old guy turns up, and he says, "Well, of course they've got aliens here. You really think they spent 30 grand on a toothbrush and whatnot on a toilet seat? You know, of course they've been hiding all of this." And they end up going down into the basement levels and actually seeing these aliens, including the live one.
Well, Dulce Base is alleged to have 5 different levels, isn't it?
Yeah, so it doesn't come as a surprise when they turn around and go, "Oh yeah, we have got biologicals," because you're thinking of all the supposed reported sightings and the reported crash landings. You're going to say that there's not one of those incidences where they hadn't recovered a body, whether it be dead or alive.
Hi, Irene. Hi, Eric. Hi, James. Hi, Colette. Which one are you on about, mate? Are you on about where the Pope came out and said, "Yeah, there are aliens. They're real. They're here. They're queer"? Is that what you're talking about?
The aliens are queer. The problem there is that's been going on for ages, wasn't it? You know, there was the 2-week conclave, and then after that, it was when he announced that obviously there are beings out there, but it was a way of beating around the bush, way of saying it.
Is beating around the bush another word to say a sexual assault?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a clear cut sort of literally walk out onto the Vatican balcony and say there are aliens and they are visiting us. It was sort of like there are other beings other than us out there,
and we have to respect them and respect their gods.
Yeah, so
and we have to respect that their gods are different. That was it.
Yeah, so it wasn't a case of openly admitting that they were there or they were here. It was just saying that there are beings out there, and like Mark said, you've got to be aware, and they will have different beliefs. And it sort of, in a sense,
Hang on, hold on. Has our video been taken off the air?
don't know, has it?
We've removed your content. It looks like you tried to get likes, follows, shares, or video views in a misleading way. What? What's he talking about?
Well, it's my phone still saying we're live. How have they removed our live then?
I don't know. It literally just went bing and flashed up on the phone. Can everybody out there hear us and see us? Right, everybody out there can still see us. And what the hell is this doing?
Yeah, Facebook user says no, I can still see you. Did you post a video?
The only thing I've posted up was the thing about, I think it was about biologics, wasn't it? Fuck knows. Maybe the powers that be, Big Brothers, are watching us again, because we, as we know, sometimes our show gets listened to by people that we talk about. Maybe that's,
I don't know. He's probably putting a complaint.
I don't know. It says I've tried to get likes and stuff, and I never do that. I just post stuff up that I think's interesting.
I didn't realise that was against community standards with them anyway.
I don't know what they're on about. I'm going to have a nosy now, see what they've removed. Could you get off the keyboard? Get off the keyboard, you tit. Look. It has. It's removed the thing I put up today.
Yeah, because I'm not getting any notification up.
Yeah, it's removed the thing I put up today.
You see, powers that be. Whoop, whoop.
What was it I put up today? It was a link to. It was a link to ancient stuff, wasn't it?
To be honest, I haven't really seen it. My iPad seems to be going a bit funky.
No, I like it when we get done, because it means that we're getting through. People are listening, and we're upsetting the people who we're talking about. So you know,
it means
we haven't mentioned anything too dodgy yet. So shut your face, wind your neck in, listen to the show. You might like us. You never know. Sorry, we've been on for 2 weeks. I've been moving house, and I was fucking ill. For those of you who had voice messages of me, they'll know, because you still hear my voice now. But my God, I was ill. I couldn't talk. Jesus. Me not being able to talk. So, yeah, now I've moved house.
And obviously, I was fanning it up somewhere else.
Yes, you bastard. And now I'm in the boudoir. So I've been relegated to the boudoir. So here I am in the bedroom.
But
surrounded by
admit, it wasn't all fun. Trust me.
What, being in the hot sun and the sea and the beach and posting up pictures of, do you know what? I might go for a swim, you fucking wanker. You know, that was such a hard thing to do. Yeah, because we weren't all back here going, yeah, we're going to go for a swim by walking out the front fucking door, you know. Yeah.
Well, you could have done if it weren't chucking it down with rain so much.
Exactly, you bastard. We weren't jealous at all over here at all, were we? No.
Look, I was only over there for 5 days. It's not as if I went over there for like a month, which would have been nice. But
and James Steele.
Oh, and in all fairness, we did get a good thunderstorm.
Oh my, the agony mark. Hang on, let me just put up what's who said that? James. And you're right, the Baba Yaga lady, she was that blind lady whose predictions were stupidly uncanny.
Yeah.
But yeah, she said that this Pope would be the one to turn Catholics into turmoil. And I think it will be the announcement of visitors from other planets. I genuinely think it's that.
I think they are giving themselves the turmoil anyway. What was it I was watching the other day? It was something to do with.
You're on. Thank you.
It was.
Fuck you, Wayne. You go back to Greece. I'll go over to Japan.
ancient apocalypse.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. The CIA book. The book
No,
of
no,
Daniel.
no. The series was called Ancient Apocalypse, and it was a guy who's an investigative journalist, and he was visiting various places around the world that are baffling archaeologists, and he's basically saying that we are being lied to about the history of our origins.
Hey, Kerry. Yeah, we have been lied to.
And it kicked off such a stink. He went to a place in North America called Serpent Mound.
Yes, have you ever seen it, Serpent Mound?
And then he got banned from going in there. And when he spoke to somebody that works for the actual group that makes sure the site is protected, the guy had turned around and he said, the majority of the times why people get banned here is because the history dates back a lot further than what the officials are telling you.
Yeah.
And that's why you got banned, because they don't want you creating waves. And he does. He has created a lot of waves within the historical communities, simply because a lot of the places he's been going to, he has found evidence that states that we actually go back further than what we're being told.
Of course we do. Look at the way it's like when we've spoken about it. It's been scientifically proven our DNA was altered over the course of 20,000 years, which in evolution, 20,000 years is that. And then when you look at, and you can see in our DNA when it happened, and they've given a time reference for it, everything, and the time reference coincides with the bits of the Babylonian text and the Book of Enki and this, that, and the other. When they talk about the Anunnaki, and then you talk about the I can't remember the names of the gods, but you talk about the queen of them who said, I grew this. I grew at the Adamu, I think it was Adamu. I grew Adamu in my tummy, which was the first one of us that had been genetically modified. When they took the gorillas or apes, or if you look at my family, it's probably us, took us and mixed us with their DNA in their image. And it says in the books, in the original Bible, we were made in their image, and then she says, I grew this in my tummy. Well, I experimented. I made the first one. And it's all there. And it's all been proven.
It was quite amusing because he actually stated something that we've been talking about for quite some time, about all the different religions around the world all have the same apocalypse.
Yeah, they do.
The Great Flood.
That's right.
And the different religions had different ways of looking at this Great Flood. And one of them was, I'm sure it was the Native American Indian one for North America and Serpent Mound, was that the Great Flood happened and this demon came in riding a winged serpent, and he was destroyed by the Queen of Gods or something, had been sent down to destroy this demon on the snake. And Serpent Mound is, I can't remember what they call it now, but it was like a memorial to that battle. And he said, if you actually look at the Serpent Mound from the sky, you can actually point where the sun goes down. The snake's head is pointing directly at the exact same point the sun sets.
Yeah.
Now, how are you going to be able to work that one out properly without being higher up? Which is very similar to the Nazca lines.
When you look at, we've said, those of you who followed this show for a long time, you'll know we've spoken about this lots and lots of times. And when we've spoken about, I've always said, out of all the religious texts, the ones to listen to properly is the Mahabharata, the Hindu one. Listen to that. Read that. When you read about the Vimanas and the wars that they had and the thermonuclear strikes that hit the ground and everything, read that. It's spot on. And then when you listen to the Native American legends and listen to that as well, spot on. Mix that in with not religious stuff, but mix that in with mythology from all around the world. You still get it, all the things along the same timelines. And I think that the mythology and all the different things, versions of what's happened in the world, I think if you put that into today's parlance, you'll get a much truer reflection of what happened in the past.
And I think this guy actually upset the Catholic Church as well, because he even turned around and said there's 14 books of the Bible missing.
What is the Book of Mary, the Bible of Mary? They refused to have it in because Mary was a woman. Yet Mary was married to Jesus and was the, you know, that they had other kids together. But the religious text, no, we can't possibly say they had kids together.
Mary was Jesus' mum.
And Mary, no, Mary also, he married a prostitute, didn't he?
Was her name Mary?
Yeah, they were both called Mary. One was Mary Magdalene, and I can't remember the other one's name. Yeah, but Mrs. Jesus.
So I mean, there's 14 books of the Bible missing, and then James I comes along and actually hashes up the Bible, and the Catholic Church were happy to accept that.
Yeah, because he also took out the Book of Enoch.
He's got a lot of things. He's got a lot of things to answer for as James I.
Enoch was Mary Magdalena. Thank you, Kerry. The Book of Enoch talks about how he was taken off and he went away. He didn't die. He went away in a ship and fucked off. You know. So, and it talks about the different planets and it talks about where they come from.
It was quite an interesting read, and to actually for him to turn around and say as well that you can only go into the Vatican vaults and have a look at what stuff's in there if you're you're an academic over 75 years of age.
That's right.
And basically they're doing that because they know that at that sort of age, that's when things like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's normally tend to kick in, and you're likely to forget half the content you've seen.
I do that every time I go into a different room, mate. What the fuck? they could let me in now, and I'll be like, oh my god. As soon as I come out of there, I go.
It would probably be knowledge. It would be knowledge overload, wouldn't it? You'd be sitting there seeing all these things fresh and brand new, and you'll be like, "Wow, didn't know that. Wow, didn't know that." You'd walk out the door, and it'd be like, "What was that? What did I see?
Yeah, exactly.
What was on page 4?"
As James himself has just said, James I changed the Bible. Oh, no, sorry, it's Andy said that. There's two of you who haven't logged in. One is Andy, one is James. As Andy said, James I changed the Bible, say, thou shalt not suffer a witch. And we all know that there was that witches were just poor women who were persecuted. There are witches, but witches are clever enough not to tell anybody they're a witch. And they're witches. But
the problem
they're cunning women and cunning men. They're good people.
The problem was you had people like Matthew Hopkins, self-proclaimed witch finder general, who comes along. And it was quite interesting, actually. I found out a few things over the weekend. James has a giant peach.
James has a giant peach. Is that one of the new rainbow lot this time? James has got a giant peach. Oh.
That Colchester actually burnt more people at the stake than anywhere else in the UK.
The assizes of Essex.
So I found that quite interesting. Because obviously Matthew Hopkins was quite predominant around this particular area.
He was.
This led on to the Pendle witch persecutions and whatnot.
That's right.
Then, when James I slapped his bits in the Bible, it ended up getting over to the States and the Salem witch trials.
If you slap your bits in the Bible and somebody shuts it, that's going to hurt, isn't it?
It's like catching a couple of bricks. But yeah, it then led to things like the Salem witch trials in America.
Yeah.
But I found out that Colchester actually tried and burnt at the stake more witches than anywhere else in the UK.
That doesn't surprise me. Japanese samurai burned witches and their children as well. Fuck. No, see, the thing is when you spread disinformation, when you spread disinformation and then you spread fear and contempt and ignorance at certain things, because people immediately believed what this man was saying, oh, witches are this and witches that, and oh, they're evil, and oh, they consort with the devil, and oh, they have sex with the devil, and oh, they do this, and their cats talk and their dogs talk and this, that. No, you fucking idiots. A lot of them were lonely old women or lonely women who lived on their own, who knew shit tons about herbs, herbal remedies, how to heal people. People watched all the time. Observe people. Just quietly from the shadows, observe things. And people would go to them and say, oh, my back's hurting, can you? And they go, oh, just... That's it. Back's back in place. Oh, I'm sorry. I fell on you. I didn't mean to do that. How's your back? Oh, it's fine. You know.
I suppose in a way it's like I would been if I'd have been around in sort of like the early 1600s, 1700s. I'd have been called a witch simply because that I found a cure for gout.
I get that, especially around the pork chop section.
You know, I went for a holistic medicine rather than taking the medicines prescribed. I went straight for cherry juice, and I got rid of it.
Yeah,
and all it did was cost me, I think it was about £5, I think it was, for 3 litres of cherry juice. And it got rid of it straight away. Prescription charges are a tenner.
That's Kerry Ann.
So
you know what? That doesn't surprise me, knowing you, Kerry, and the word nutter. It's pretty apt, really.
So you know, you were called a witch because you did things differently to the mainstream of things.
Yeah. And they knew stuff. Oh, they knew how to heal. How did they observe things? They watched the tides. They watched the spring. They watched the seasons. They watched the animals. They knew when this was going to happen, when that was going to happen, when there was going to be a storm. How to heal things. How to help healing in animals and humans. And some fucking idiot thought, I don't like women getting that much of attention and getting this. No, they must be in league with the devil. People are dicks. People are real dicks.
Thing was as well that out of the 200 people that were burnt at the stake in Colchester, 20 of them were men. And not a lot of people know that.
Well, as we said before, Michael, when we've had Michael K. Not a lot of people know it. Do you know he never actually said that? It was back then, especially with the assizes, because the worst assizes were the ones in Essex and the ones in Scotland, and then the ones in France, gradually going across Eastern Europe. But it used to be that like anybody who had a little tiny bit of influence and didn't like their neighbour or wanted to fuck their neighbour's wife or whatever, they'd grass at their neighbour and say he's this or she's that or she, you know, and then they get them out of the way and go wrong. But to be absolutely honest, nothing changes. Look at our government now; they're still as corrupt as fuck anyway. Look at all this with what's going on now with aliens and stuff. We know they're here. We know the majority of them are here to make friends and be nice and help us. But the bobberments of the world, being the bobberments of the world, all they're interested in is that, and it's wrong. And those who are out there listening should be looking at us and going, do you know what? Most of them are nice guys. If we ignore the bobberments, we can crack on with that. Somebody has walked into the kitchen. Oh, he's gone again. And here endeth the lesson for today, my children. He'll be back in a minute. Just watch. Men were called doctors, but women were called witches, and they used the same herbs. But now there are more women who are doctors here, and herbal medicine is used with Western medicine here. Ironic. It is, exactly. Most witches, like I say, they were white witches, hedge witches. They were just people that watched and observed and knew things. He's there at the bottom waiting to come in. Shall I add him? Shall I put him back in? Yeah, go on. And they got persecuted for it, and it was just so wrong. You know, like the religions, like C of E and Catholicism and stuff like that, and that all came from, you know, other what came from the Romans, the Italians turning around to the rest of the world and saying, you shouldn't be worshipping nature, you shouldn't have gods for nature, you shouldn't have gods for this and that, you should be looking at our gods. If you don't, we're going to give you a smack in the mouth. And that's where religion comes from. And to be fair, religion's still doing that to this day. And I wonder why the Pope had his conclave, and I wonder why the Pope could turn around, stood on the balcony and said, yeah, they're visitors from other planets, we must respect them. What's in it for them?
What's in it for them is so they keep face with the parishioners. I think if they were to leave it and aliens were to turn up out of the blue, you would have a lot of people leave religious faiths all around the world.
Completely agree.
Simply because of it. Yeah.
Don't you? Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
No one in their right mind trusts the bobberments now. They've all of them around the world, like the US government, the British government, the French government now, they're in as much shit. The Germans as well. No one trusts their government anymore. And if you do, you're a mug. All they're out for is to line their own pockets, screw the country, and then get out of it and get their pension. That's all they're after. What's that? Christians were crucified by the samurai shogun. That's why it's so darn haunted. You guys have. I love Chinese and Japanese vampires. Irene will know about this. They hop. They have that, and they hop. And the way to stop them is you put a prayer on a piece of paper and just stick it on the forehead. They can't run.
I like the way that Irene commented about Christians being crucified by samurais, and all of a sudden you went on about Chinese and Japanese vampires.
Yeah, because Irene said it's so damn haunted over in Japan.
Again, what's that got to do with vampires?
Do you not know the legends about
if vampires were real, right? It wouldn't be a case of being haunted, would it?
See, I've always thought, and I think you remember when we've spoken about this on shows, you got like legends of vampires and werewolves, all that crap. I think there's always something, like all superstitions, all myths, all mythological beasts, etc. I think there was that spark. There was genuinely something there that started that up. But I think that vampires, when you think about it, because we're the product of gene manipulation, and when the legends of vampires started, and that was a few thousand years ago, it wasn't as recent as people think. They go back and back and back. And I'm sure, if I remember rightly, there's a vampiric legend in Babylonian times. Why couldn't it have been that when they made all those genetic experiments, why couldn't there have been an apex predator version of us who was the start of the vampires?
But there was always the saying, wasn't there? There's always something bigger.
Yeah. Like my dick. There's always something bigger,
Mine.
Lilo says no. She just said, I've caught bigger things than that. But do you see what I mean? In every single culture, there's always legends of blood drinkers. There's legends of shapeshifters, this, that, and the other. And all the legends go back. You can trace the legends back to a certain time, and then it stops, and there isn't anything before that. And where they stop is when the legends of the Anunnaki went. So why
there's always
kind of,
there's always some truth in it somewhere along the line. We've said it before. It's like Chinese whispers. If you've ever played Chinese whispers with a group of people, it starts off as one sentence, and by the time it gets to the end of the line, it's ended up as something else. But the original essence of what was originally said is still there.
Yeah.
So, with a lot of the legends and myths that circulated around over a course of time, they get altered, they change until what they are now. But there is that little tiny speck there that has some truth to it. It's just a case of it just gets lost in translation over the years.
It's Chinese, Irene, and it's to do with my late son. Don't know if you can see it. There you go. That's better. It's to do with my late son. He was a skateboarder. If you can understand that, you'll know exactly what that says. There you go. Hang on, I'll show you again. There you go.
I've got mine, but then my order for the local Chinese takeaway.
No, it's to do with a favourite song of his, and we had to play.
I've got egg fried rice on this arm and chicken chow mein on this one.
Don't know if you can see it. There. That says dad, father. That says dad.
Blimey, it looked like you were a West Ham supporter then.
Wayne, you're my best mate. Why'd you fucking neck him? Fucking West Ham, piss off, you bastard.
That looked like the two hammers.
Oh yeah, I suppose it does, really. Yeah. I've got another one up here. Where is it? Yeah, it's a bit faded now, but that little bit there says love. Yeah, there you go. Means father. See? Oh, hang on. I'll show you. All right. Now, can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
Let's have a look.
No.
I love to be probed. Okay.
No, that's chicken chow mein. That's supposed to mean tiger, and that's supposed to mean dragon.
That's your two's Chinese zodiac sign. Can you sit? There you go, Eileen. You can see it. There. This one. Don't know if you can. It's faded. It just looks like a smudge. But yeah. And
then obviously
that says heaven is a half pipe. Spookinori.
How did you get on the subject, Caitlin?
Mark. That's Mark's fault. Oh, God. Welcome to the Dark Mirror Tattoo Show.
Actually, we're going to get Rachel and I are going to get tattooed. Not names or any shit like that.
I think we should get a picture of one.
Thanks, Mark.
I think you should as well. You should get the same ones we're getting done. Our thumbprints done in the shape of a heart. Like that.
Didn't we?
Yeah, we're going to have a little ghosty.
Wayne's going to have a male one, which is going to have a bulge at the front, and she's going to have a lady one, which is going to have two bulges at the front.
My mum would go schizo if she saw that.
Now have it tattooed on your ass like you said you always wanted to, mate.
Oh, I got my panda.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh. But my skin is rejecting the pigment in it.
I personally think it's a Mozzie bite.
Hang on, no, that would have when you had that done, that would have rejected it. I've had a tattoo where that's happened. It happens straight.
It had to be touched up, the pigment again.
That would have rejected
but
that.
What you do in the privacy of your own home is entirely up to you.
You've had that tattoo for too long now. I would have rejected it way before now.
And then I got my most recent.
My bald alien.
That one's my.
That was your friend, wasn't it? Yeah.
My cousin, yeah.
Cousin, yeah.
And then I don't know how I can show that one. Stay strong.
Now she's turned into a tattoo freak.
I only want one more.
Do get a bit addictive. I've got to have my one across my back finished off.
The only other one I want is Tamsin and Freddie's names. That's it.
My trouble is I've got one on here, which is a shamrock in the shape of a heart with Dad on it when my dad died. So it's tattooed over my heart. And I've got writing across my shoulders from both my daughters and squiggles when my grandkids were old enough to hold a pen and they squiggled. And we had that tattooed on underneath it as well. So I've got two grandchildren left who've got to do a squiggle to finish it and it's complete. But the front of my body, when I had that done, it hurt so much it just put me off having anything done on my body. Fuck that.
I want one of those musical ones. Like the barcode. You scan the barcode, scan the barcode and it takes you to a certain song on your mobile phone.
Yeah, but mate, you'll get done for constantly whipping your dick out and putting it on your phone scanner.
I'd be setting off the alarms in supermarkets all the time.
Can you imagine going
go through a till and scan your barcode just to sob the tills up.
I can't remember if I showed you, but remember I was having the C3PO leg?
Yeah. There it is.
Can't see it properly, but yeah.
Oh, that does look very good.
I had the R2D2 one and now I've got the C3PO one.
Cool.
So anyway, what were we talking about? Aliens and the Vatican. Right? When you look back at the Vatican and the Arctic archives and everything like that, and you look at their really shit time they had. Do you remember when they had the Borgias in? And the Borgias were running everything, and they were the head of the Vatican. They were the Pope and everything. They knew about stuff that was going on, and they were humping everybody and having orgies and this, that, and the other. But they knew about the visitors, and there's allegedly stuff in the archives from their time where they spoke about it and they were talking about it, and it was common knowledge. So I really don't understand why, after everything that's happened and the fact that in the space of 10 years? No, since 2000, everything's gone boom. We all know what's going on. We all know they're here. Why is the government and everybody still trying to hide it, still trying to lie and still trying to cover it up? When the whole world knows now, we know you're lying. We know you've been lying the whole time. Just stop with the shit and just admit it.
It's like we've been saying, isn't it? It's like it's like the Walter Mitty groups. Anybody that's been in the military will know someone that's lying about being in the military. And that's why they have the nitty groups. And you literally walk up to someone that's standing there saying, oh, well, what was your service number? And they go, oh, I can't remember it. I'm sorry, but anybody that served in the military will all remember their service number. I still remember mine. And I've been out for 2 decades now, over 2 decades, and I still remember my service number.
I only remember the first 4 digits, 3278.
I remember all of mine.
I'm shit with numbers. Yeah, so, I can remember my first phone number when I was a child.
Yeah, so, it's things like that, when it's blatantly obvious that you should know the answer. And like we've been saying, with technology the way it is now, you can't hide it anymore.
It's like when you turn around to somebody and say, did you do heavy or light? You know straight away what it is, but somebody's not been in. They've got no idea what you're talking about.
So, for them to turn around and go, oh, but there ain't no such thing as aliens, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, I'm sorry, but the evidence is clearly stacked against you. You might as well start admitting it now, because you're blatantly making yourselves look complete idiots. And that's what they're succeeding in doing. But then, when you've got Biden in power in the United States, the US government are making themselves look like prize idiots anyway. Sorry to the rest of the United States, but unfortunately, your president is a first-class plum.
It's like him and Rishi Sunak. They're both dicks. They're both complete and utter dicks. They lie through their teeth. They're in corruption and lining their nests way up over their heads. And it's like, for fuck's sake, just for one thing, just tell the damn truth.
That was like something I was watching today about the ULEZ expansion.
Have you seen the guy going around cutting the cameras?
There's a whole group of them doing it. They're either cutting the cords or they're stealing the entire cameras. But they're standing there saying, the Bobberman is saying, we are powerless to do anything against it because of a legislation that was brought in that gave Boris Johnson the power to do practically what he wanted. And Sadiq Khan apparently has used this to his advantage. Now, the government is too scared to do anything about it. However, the government can do something about it, and there is a piece of their own legislation that if they don't want it, they can overrule Sadiq Khan and go, get rid of them and get rid of them now. But they won't do it because it's all about the money.
Well, Sadiq, it's like one of the things that pissed me off about Sadiq Khan is turning old abandoned churches into mosques, which I get. Everybody has their own religion. They need to have places to worship. But, however, my thing is, when you've got so many homeless, why can't you convert churches into hostels for the homeless? That comes first, surely, before anything else.
I mean, we've got a simple answer to that solution anyway, and that's the Australian Border Force. Take a look in their books and take on what they've done and do the same here. You would be able to home every single homeless person in the UK instantly if you stopped sending pointless money over to places like France. 450 million pounds went over to France again over the last couple of weeks.
Have you seen how bad it is over there now?
They'll just waste it. But they're now starting to turn people away at the French-Italian border now. They're actually putting people back into Italy now from France. But if you were to stop spending £6 million a day on all these migrants staying in hotels and all the money that we keep spending on the UK Border Force to just escort them to the beaches.
We're just going to get a little controversial, ladies and gentlemen. Just say what everybody wants to say. Carry
on. Every homeless person in the United Kingdom wouldn't be homeless anymore by the end of the month. Because of that amount of money we are spending on them could have gone to our homeless. That would have got every single one off the street and into a home without any debt. It would clear their debts if they had any. They would have a free house, which is only what we're doing to the migrants. We're giving them free accommodation, free food, free clothing. Some of them are even being told to go to food banks. The Trussell Trust is being inundated with migrants going in, being told that they can go there to get stuff when all they've got to do is go to the hotel reception. So you've got 99.9% of the UK's homeless people would be homed by the end of the month straight away if they did not waste this money on the migrants and just said, go away.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It needs to be the Australia. I know some people might not like me saying it, but it needs to be on the Australia system and doing what they're doing, because, if everybody floods into Britain, there's going to be nothing left of a Britain in the first place.
Albanian sex traffic gangs. Is that like when you get loads of people wearing like black hoodies with them done up there, and they come up behind your cars and slip out of the exhaust pipe and then run away with them?
The ambassador to Albania was questioned about all of this because they're finding that the majority of them, they found that a majority of the migrants that were coming into the country were from Albania at this particular time. And our Minister of Foreign Affairs questioned their ambassador and said, why is it that they've spent thousands of pounds coming across Europe, getting in a rubber dinghy, coming into the UK to claim asylum, when all they had to do was spend £28 on a ticket from Albania to this country? They're not war-torn. They're not in an economic state. There's no civil war. That country doesn't have any problems. So why spend thousands of pounds getting here illegally when all they had to do was buy a plane ticket? And the guy couldn't answer it. He couldn't answer the question. And then he turned around and said that 80% of the people they questioned turned out to be criminals in Albania in the first place.
Oh, fucking tell me about it. Can I have one, please? Thank you. Yeah, tell me about it, because there's been things over here where you've got, they didn't do any of the checks, and they've come over here, and you've got bloody murderers and pedos and fuck knows what. You've just been crossing the border, and then they're doing it over here as well. It's ridiculous.
I think what it is, your Albanian government are going, we don't want you here, so we're sending you over there. That's why their ambassador was speechless and couldn't come out with any answers, because I think they don't want the people in their own country, so they're sending them over here. They're the ones that are paying for their tickets to get here. That's my theory.
It's all complete and utter horseshit. They've screwed themselves, and they screwed themselves a long time ago, and now it's got so bad there's nothing they can do about it. Yeah. Look at France. Germany's now starting to get like France. It won't be long before England is.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the hotel in is it not Kef? It might be Caerphilly. There was the hotel that was taken over by the government for the migrants, and the security team went out, didn't they? The security team left. The police had told the people they weren't allowed to enter the property, so they stormed the place, and they had a massive all-night party on one of the terraces of the hotel. They still had migrants in it, and they were having a massive party on one of the balconies. That's what it's going to be. Is the people are going to just say, "Look, enough's enough now," and they'll storm places.
Need to think about housing our homeless and our UK veterans and stuff first.
It does sound harsh, and I've got nothing against people going to another country if they're going to do it through the legal route and work and provide something to the community that they're going to be living in. But the problem is there's so many have arrived now that there's nowhere for them to go. So they're all being put up in old army bases, old RAF bases. Yeah. Hotels are being paid to house them. Even that stupid frigging barge that they set up, they come out with some excuse. We're afraid of water. And yet they were inches to it when they came across the channel in the first bloody place.
I was going to say, when you come across on the floating door, there's going to be a lot of water involved.
Yeah. But this is a bloody great big barge, the size of a great big hotel. You know, they got no worries.
Weren't they the ones that were going to be prison ships? They were going to be prison ships, weren't they? And they built them, and then they went, no, let's do it for this, and turned it into that.
So, you know, they're not being moored in the middle of the English Channel. which wouldn't have been a bad idea. But I saw another one the other day where a cruise ship was ordered by the Royal Navy to move out the way of a dinghy. Yeah, a P&O cruise ship was ordered by the Navy to move out of the way of a dinghy that was heading to the UK shores. And the captain of the cruise liner actually recorded the radio message.
What was the one I heard? One of the funniest things I heard was before all this with Russia, it was a Russian Navy ship coming down. It was like one of the islands of Scotland or something, where there was a manned lighthouse, and this Russian captain was radioing saying, "You need to move out of our way because we're coming through." And the guy was going, "Hit the heart! Oh, what's my no? We can't move out of your way, and we're not going to move out of your way." And it's carried on, thank you, darling, for about 5-10 minutes. And the guy's going, "Thank you. Look at your bloody radar. We're a bloody great big piece of rock. We're a piece of land that's about 20 square miles. If you want to run straight into us and sink your lovely ship, you crack on, mate. But we are not moving out of your way." And then the guy's going, "We shall change course." You know, and it's like, what are you doing? But,
I mean, it gets silly. I mean, it's like on the news during the week, Russian bombers diverted away, intercepted off of Scotland.
I saw that. Yeah.
And I'm like, seriously, are you trying to scare people? It has been going on like been going like this for years. Russia would send a long-range bomber up or a long-range reconnaissance aircraft just to test our readiness.
See how quick we were.
There's nothing sinister in it. They just do it on purpose to make sure we're ready for anything. And then they turn around and they fly back to Russia and go, yeah, they were up within minutes. And that's it. It's been happening for donkey's years. And yet mainstream media put it out there deliberately to scare people into thinking Russia were going to invade. You know, the amount of times, I mean, we had...
Media, never trust the media. Never, ever listen to the media. Hi, Kerry.
I think we had, when I was in the RAF, we had about 2 call-outs a week. That's how bad it was. 2 call-outs a week. This is nothing now compared to what it was like in the early 90s.
Mm.
You know, 1 or 2 a week we were getting. Now you're lucky to hear 1 a month, 1 every other month. Yeah. But it's because of the Ukraine war business that, Russian bombers and Russian reconnaissance aircraft have come into our airspace. And it didn't bother me none. I knew they were doing it.
They've been doing it for donkey's years, you know. My old man was ex-Special Forces. And he was saying that, like, even when he was in, because he was in Northern Ireland, Belgium, Congo, Zaire, all that stuff, doing whatever the fuck he was doing. But he was saying that they were always doing it. And it's not just England that they did it to. They were chancing it with every country. And they were just coming along and chasing them off out of it. And I hear now that over in Russia, that was the laziest jumping up onto the bed I've ever seen a fat cat do. You should be ashamed of yourself. Yes. I see that they're now trying to say that over in Russia, get off the keyboard, that there's one of they think either Putin's died and has been replaced by a lookalike, or he's got terminal cancer and is dying, and then this, that, and the other, and they don't think he's got much longer, and they think that the whole of Russia is going to turn around and say, "Fuck you, get out."
That's been going on for quite some time. That story.
I think he's got too much of an iron fist on them.
And they've said that I can't remember who it was. It was a news channel had said they'd got a body linguist in to look at certain videos of President Putin, and they've said he keeps grabbing hold of the table. He holds underneath the table with his hand.
One of his arms he keeps still when he walks.
And And I'm thinking to myself, well, to be honest, keeping an arm still was a typical thing for if you were in the security business or in like KGB or anything like that, you would have an arm at ready.
He was FSB, wasn't
he? Yeah, that would mean keeping it as still as possible because you never know when you're going to need it. So it would have been kept still on purpose.
Well, I use this one up, so I have to keep this one nice and still and ready to do stuff. You know,
I don't think it's necessarily because he's got an illness.
Oh, he has. He's got cancer. He has definitely got cancer.
Is he going to admit that he's got to the stage where it's going to take him?
I
think he would install something in place that would ensure that what is going on now stays going on.
I personally think so. It's all a load of bollocks. There's other stuff going on, but I think, as per usual, with the media and the governments of the world, this is all being flashed up in our face. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. We don't actually see what's going on right under our noses. Same with the aliens thing. I think we've got something. Well, we've said, haven't we? We've said for quite a while something's coming. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, I don't know. But something big is coming, and it's coming soon. But I think we're being blindsided until it's here, and it's too late, and we can't do fuck all about it.
Yep.
But as I say, whether it's good, whether it's bad, I do not know. I'm hoping it's good.
But then that makes you wonder about things like what's it called? Roscosmos, the Russian space agency. Now, we'd had rumours that they were responsible, along with China, for putting bases on the dark side of the moon and keeping things quiet and so on. However, Luna 25, their latest mission to the moon, ends in failure. Splat. Straight
it did, didn't it?
Straight into the moon.
Yeah.
You know, it. I don't know. It says a lot. Apparently, it switched itself to an off-design orbit, and that was it.
Or did it intentionally take whatever it was targeting on the moon out?
Again, this is the thing. They haven't officially given out an answer as to what caused the crash. They have just stated that it crashed into it. However, a specially formed commission is going to investigate the reasons for the loss. But it comes a day
every time.
It comes a day after the spacecraft reported an emergency situation as it was trying to enter a pre-landing orbit. So it was basically coming round to land, apparently. We say apparently. During the operation, an emergency situation occurred on board the automatic station, which did not allow the maneuver to be performed with the specific perimeters. Roscosmos shared in a Telegram post on Saturday. The spacecraft was meant to complete Russia's first lunar landing mission in 47 years. The country's last lunar lander, Luna 24, landed on the surface of the moon on August the 18th, 1976. So, again, why all this time?
Well, you know yourself, when we've done shows about the dark side of the moon, and we've gone to talk about the Chinese stuff that's going on the dark side of the moon, when the whole fucking website and anything to do with it was suddenly taken down and taken off the interweb, you know, and it wasn't on the internet, it wasn't on the Internet of Things. Everything had gone. But the Chang'e rover that we were keeping an eye on because it's going across to where that light is, no, nothing's being said about it. What did it see? Did it get there? Did it find what it was looking for? Who knows?
It's because they don't want us to know what it's found. And I personally think that it's quite possible that China would be quite happy to share what it finds.
Yeah, I reckon they would. People say don't trust the Chinese and that, but to be absolutely fair with everything, what I've always, yes, you're handsome, Yoda, we know. We do. I've always watched the way China interacts with like the big superpowers. And to be fair, yeah, they have no health and safety. They have cancer towns. They have this, that, and the other, and they knock out all this stuff. But they are a massive superpower. They are stupidly wealthy. But they turned around to Russia and went, "What you're doing is wrong. We're not backing you up. We're not your buddies. Stop trying to get us to side with you. Stop trying to get us to join you in the Ukraine, because we're not going to do it."
Yeah, and they've basically sat on the fence, haven't they? Because they won't take sides with NATO and they won't take sides with Russia, and they're just turning around and saying, "You get on with it. We don't want to get involved."
Yeah, exactly, and I don't fucking blame them. You know.
No.
But it's like the trouble is the WHO is the biggest. The WHO is now the biggest group in the world, and it owns many, many things, and has got its fingers in many, many pies. Thank you, Colette. This one is Yoda. That's Yoda. The black and white one that came up earlier was Lilo, and she's on the windowsill looking now. And there is Bob around here somewhere, but he's probably hiding under the bed. So yeah.
Thing is, as well, is who runs the WHO?
The UN.
The United Nations runs the WHO.
Exactly. Do you think that should be allowed? No.
The problem is you will have the United Nations will have their own departments, the same as our own governments have their own departments.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, back in the 90s, it was the United Nations that was responsible for heading over to Kuwait and all that area for freeing Kuwait from the Iraqi forces. You had the same thing again for the division of Cyprus between the Turkish and the Greek Cypriots. You know, United Nations were getting involved in everything, and that was just the military arm. So, of course, they're looking, oh, well, we'll start up this organisation that can help the world health. So they start up the World Health Organization. The only problem is the World Health Organization gets given more and more power to do what they want. And then all of a sudden, they're in the power to be able to dictate to everybody else what they should and shouldn't do in a situation.
Well, it's like Sarah Louise has just said, who I thought it was the WEF. It's the WHO. If you look into it and look into who owns all these little businesses and all these little companies, and it's the WHO. It's the WHO that owns all this stuff, and it's the WHO that's got all these fingers in all these pies. And who is a bigwig in the WHO, and who owns a lot of the WHO? Bill Gates. That's all I'll say about that, and I'll just leave that there.
Yeah, the WEF is an independent organisation.
But the WHO and Bill Gates are. They've been trying to buy up a lot of stuff, but a lot of places have been vetoing it and saying, no. You're not doing that. But they are the biggest organisation in the world at the moment. I think they're the richest.
Klaus Schwab founded the World Economic Forum in January 1971. So, and oddly enough, it's in Switzerland.
It just goes to show you with all these things that if people are left to quietly crack on with their stuff, if you leave it for too long, it's too late.
I wonder how much he's worth. Let's have a look. Is Klaus Schwab.
Well, this one's Yoda. There is another black one called Bob, short for SpongeBob. My eldest daughter named him. And then you've got thank you, mate. You've got the black and white one who's sat over there on the windowsill, and that's Lilo. It used to be Lilo and Stitch, but unfortunately Stitch got run over. Do you see how this is why I love the show? Because we talk about so many different bloody things, and we go from topic to topic to topic. Tattoos, cats, World Health Organization, aliens. You know, go bugger off. What do you reckon? Yeah, what do you make of these all these fires that are starting and all these screenshots and everything and things that have been taken of lasers hitting the ground?
Bollocks.
And you know, now there's actually a plane which has got a directed laser weapon on it.
Yeah, but direct energy weapons have been around for donkeys.
Yeah, railguns have been around since the Second World War.
We've been using direct energy weapons for quite some time. But the problem is some of the videos are so blatantly stupid because they're like Death Star style lasers. You know?
Oh no, I'm not on about. I'm not on about those. I'm on about the ones where they
yeah. But what I'm saying
said it's been man-made.
A lot of the videos that have been shown of these high energy weapons being used to start these fires, right? One of the videos I saw, this laser had to have been about 2 miles across. So blatantly bloody obvious that that was done by computer.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that wildfires that were in Corfu started on purpose. It was man-made.
A lot of them have been. The Canadian ones, a lot of those have been man-made as well.
They arrested 2 people for the Corfu ones, and they're still looking for the third. And it was done on purpose to devalue the land so that big business can buy it.
Do you know what? Do you remember that thing that got blown up? The Georgia.
The Guidestones.
The Georgia Guidestones, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it very strange that since that's been blown up, things have gone fucking mental?
Yeah. But I mean, it's the problem was where the wildfires were in Corfu. There's a lot of farmland around there that have a lot of olive groves, and the olive groves. A lot of people. I mean, my sister's other half. The town they live in, surrounded by olive groves, and he owns quite a few of them. He doesn't cultivate them, doesn't harvest the olives. He's now got the manager of his bar to do the olives in the winter seasons now, because he's actually finally realised there is money to be made from olives, which over the last few years he hasn't bothered, and they've just dropped onto the floor and gone to waste. He's now realised that at least he can earn something from something that grows out of the ground. You know, it's like, someone's just rung a bell right next to my earhole. And literally that entire section of the island where you've got, like, you'll have a village or a town, and then everything on the outskirts is farmland. No, Spiros.
Okay, matey peeps.
So everything between the towns is all farms, and a lot of it is olive farms. Then when you get over to the hillside where the wildfires were, you've got all that hillside is olive groves right away down till you get towards the shoreline, and then you've got nothing but hotels. And the accusation was sent out by one of the locals of a village that got evacuated, that people were being sent into the village on purpose to start these fires, to burn all these towns and houses out, so that the hoteliers can purchase the land at a cheaper price and build hotels on it. And then when you look at places like Maui, where they're turning around and saying, why is it the likes of Opera's house was saved?
Oh, because she had 100. She's got 100 acres in Maui, isn't she?
Yeah. Why weren't the water systems put on? Why weren't the alarm systems set off? Why was there a police car blocking the main road going out of Maui?
Yeah.
And stopping everybody from getting out?
There's something like 1,000 people missing over there at the moment.
Yeah. So, you know, and now they're saying that other people are being evicted. There's being compulsory purchases being made on land because, you know, there's no buildings on it anymore. It all leaves it open for development.
Can you imagine if they tried to do that shit over here? There's too much rain. We'd just come out and piss on it.
They use a high energy weapon on anything round here. It'd come out in 5 minutes.
Yeah, everything's too wet.
So it does make you wonder. And then you get the chief of police turn around and say, don't believe everything you see on social media. Well, I'm more likely to believe somebody that's lost his house and all his belongings than a police chief that's been paid to stand there and talk bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's still not been able to answer the questions that have been asked of him. Like, why weren't the sirens going off? Why was the water turned off?
I saw the video that the fire guys at the hydrants with the fucking hoses on, and they're like, hey, and they're turning the thing on. There's no water, and they're like, no. It's corruption.
Because someone turned the water off, and that was because they were told to.
Yeah, it's just.
It's the only thing it could be. I've just discovered on here that Klaus Schwab oddly enough, being the head of the World Economic Forum, he is only worth between $25 and $100 million. You would have thought someone like him would have been worth a hell of a lot more.
I wouldn't mind being worth that.
But then saying that, I don't think he's going to be around for much longer. And oddly enough, he was born in 1938 in Ravensburg, Germany.
1938, eh? Mm.
Someone was busy up to the prelude to the Second World War.
8 years before. Mm. 1946, the war stopped. 38 to 46.
Yeah, I said someone was busy before the Second World War started.
Yeah, they had no TV.
Oh, Schwab's mum and dad must have been very busy before the Second World War started.
There's no TV, mate. There's no TV. All they had over there was weird sex shows of people in lederhosen.
No, they could have played Scrabble.
You will bend over now. Spread. Mate, that is better, yeah? Oh.
They could have played some poker. Maybe dominoes.
And now we play the Umpapa.
We could have some Wiener Schnitzel and play some Scrabble later.
Oh, you will like the Wiener Schnitzel, don't you? Everybody's missed this shit, haven't they? I don't know.
Gonna miss it next week. Gonna miss it next week as well because I'm in Blackpool next week.
Oh fuck yeah! I'll tell you what. I'll do this next week.
I might be nice. And I might come to you live from Blackpool.
Well, I'll tell you what. How's about we do one next week? We're in Blackpool, and I'll go up onto Oliver's Mount and do the UFO thing up there, and I'll be live from Oliver's Mount. You can be live from Blackpool. We'll do it together. You filthy beast. And if I see any UFOs, I can just go, look. Because we're Oliver's Mount, for those of you who don't know, in Scarborough has had absolutely tons of UFO sightings. And I don't mean distant sightings. I mean close up. It's well known for UFOs and everything. And I last year, I was going to do a live from there, but the cloud cover was so bad we couldn't do it in the end. So if we say next Monday, I'll do a live from Oliver's Mount. Yeah? All right. We'll do that.
Yeah, see if we can do.
See if we can do that.
Depends on how busy I am, because obviously I've got to drive up there, and obviously we'll probably go out for something to eat and whatnot, and then settle the kids down. So depending on how busy I am and how tired I am, I'll pop on. But send me the link anyway. I will do. I'll put it in the main thing, and I'll pop in and go hello.
Might attract whaling. Mark, you might attract an alien wearing a tea-back under. What, a thong? I'm not wearing a thong. I wear boxers. Thank you very much, young lady. Please don't wear that thong. I'll go commando. And on that note, thank you for joining us. I'm sorry, my voice hopefully will be better by this time next week. It's nice to be back. Sorry, like I say, I was off for 2 weeks. I've been ill and I've been moving house. So, and Wayne's been. I'm not wearing a thong. Bugger off. Yeah. All right. So next Monday we'll have a live watch, and we'll literally be on polar opposites of the UK coast, because you've got where Wayne's going to be, Blackpool's over here on the west coast. And you're going to have where I'll be in Scarborough at Oliver's Mount, literally on the east coast, and they're right opposite each other across country. So we can do that, and we'll do a UFO watch. Okay. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining these things. After a while, make your ears itch.
You'll be doing a seagull watch. You'll be doing a UFO watch, and I'll be doing a seagull watch.
Blackpool is apparently the biggest place for swingers and people that hump their landladies.
It's also good for very cheap food, buy one, get one free, 2p coin pushers, and the big one at Blackpool Pleasure Beach.
The Dipper. I'll tell you what.
And the haunted ghost train.
I was just about to say what we have got coming over here. Andy, who's in the chat room and is one of our moderators and very awesome post stuff for us. He's meeting up with me the day after tomorrow. He's coming up to Scarborough and meeting us.
It's good film, that is, actually.
What, coming to Scarborough?
No, day after tomorrow.
Ah, yeah, it is actually. It's a good film. Also, we've got the Honda Goldwing Nightlight Parade coming up next. I think it's the next 3 weeks. I'm fucking looking forward to that. All the Goldwings have the lights and everything done. My bike is dead at the moment. Got to go to a repair shop. But yeah, that should be good. But we will start going out and about doing some more lives. And I want to go up to we've got a massive castle up here, which is alleged to be haunted. So I think I might go there. We've also got a Victorian cemetery, a massive Victorian cemetery that I would like to take a wander around with a K2.
I'm feeling bored now. All these things you're going to now, I've done all mine. Well, apart from 2.
Where I lived, there was nothing to do, nothing going on, nothing. And now here, I've got a lot more opportunity to do stuff.
Thing is, we have loads going on in Colchester, but we always find out the last minute. They don't advertise it as well as they should do. I mean, we had this weekend. We had some reenactment group.
It's Monday night. I'm doing the show. I know everybody saw it. Love you. Bye.
Yeah, we had literally Saturday and Sunday. They were doing the reenactment of the Siege of Colchester.
Yeah, no.
From the Civil War. Absolutely amazing event that was. There was hundreds of them. They were all over the bloody place. And they literally had all displays around the back of the castle where they executed Charles Lucas and his compadre. And they had a massive battle down on the lower castle park, and you had all the pikemen with their spears and that, and cavalry. They had cannons going off. Absolutely brilliant. But we didn't find out until the last minute that it was on. I think it was the night before. I was tidying up my garage, and I was putting stuff out the front ready to go and do a tip run. And we could hear all this banging going on, and we thought, what the hell's that? Don't tell me there's another thunderstorm coming.
You could hear all this banging going on.
Yeah, we heard all this banging going on. And it wasn't until later on, Ellen's looking through her phone, and someone had posted a video of these pikemen coming down Colchester High Street, stopping and firing their muskets. And you're like, okay, when was that? So we had a look, and it was on yesterday as well. So we're like, sorry, we're going up the town. And they did exactly the same thing again. You had the pikemen and the musket men coming down the Colchester High Street, and then they stopped, fired the muskets, fired a salvo at each other a few times, and then went further down the high street and did the same thing again. Bloody brilliant organisation, and like they've never done that before. But it's now because they've got city status, and they're now throwing it in everybody's faces, that they're now trying to promote Colchester a lot more. And they should have been doing that right from the start, right going donkey's years back. They should have been doing it, because Colchester, oddly enough, has got more history to it than people think.
Fuck Colchester. Enough about Colchester. We got Scarborough now. We got stuff going on here too. Fuck
Colchester is 25 years older than London.
Londinium.
And Colchester was originally Camalodunum.
I'm trying to think, what was the original capital of the UK? Because it wasn't London. It was
Colchester.
Was it called? No, there was another one before that.
Colchester was the capital of Roman England. It was the first city and oldest recorded town.
There was this TV series that was done about it, and it was something or other 1, 2, 3. The hell was it called?
This is why we were all fighting for Colchester to become a city, because it is classed as Britain's first city and Britain's oldest recorded town. And it doesn't. It never got the recognition. So it's only now that they've said, we'll do it. Colchester was the capital of Roman England in 49 AD.
Do you know? I've got one for you before we go. Do you know what Scarborough used to be known as, because it was founded by Vikings?
Was it called Ja, horned helmet, big beard, plaited hair, pufters.
No, that was York called that. That was called Jorvik. It was called Scardybowl.
Who?
Scardybowl. York was Jorvik, and Scarborough was Scardybowl.
Scardyherdiger.
Yeah, that's the one. And on that note, I'm going to bugger off because I need to loo.
That's a good excuse, isn't it?
I'm going to bugger off and let you dream about Blackpool and all your swinging you're going to do.
Oh, actually, well, before we go to Blackpool, we are actually going to the Clacton Air Show as well, which is an annual pilgrimage. So I do go up over there, and I go and see some of the Red Arrows boys and say hello.
They were here last week, Red Arrows at Whitby.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few of the. They've just done the Eastbourne Air Show as well. So, but the problem is,
come up here.
I think there'd only be a couple, like literally a couple of the ground crew or the display crew that I would possibly ever know, because they shift the pilots are shifted round I think it's every other season, and the ground crew tend to be moved on as well. So after the time it's been for me to have left the RAF, I reckon there's quite a few of them I wouldn't know, if not all of them. But I do like to keep in touch with the boys, you know. Golly gosh, what and all that, cup of tea and a scone.
Pip pip. On that note,
away.
I'm buggering off. Right. We will see you guys next week, and hopefully I'll be with you from Oliver's Mount, and he'll be with you from Blackpool's Mount.
That's the top of the tower. No way am I going up that fucking thing again.
So we will. Well, Oliver's Mount, you'll see when I'm up there. When we start the show, it should be light enough to see, and I'll show you the view.
So you're going to Mount Oliver.
Exactly, and if anybody would like to come up and join us on the live at Oliver's Mount next Monday, we'll be there from 9. Well, I'll be there from just before 9. So if you want to come up and join us on a live UFO watch, you're more than welcome to. So great to be back. Hopefully I'll have my voice back properly next week, and Wayne and his eyebrows will be joining us from Blackpool, hopefully. So we will see you all soon, and thank you for listening to us and joining us tonight. On that note, I'm going to say goodbye. So I say goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from him.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.